Yeah, hi there. These comments, I'm going to use the initials of your name here. I'm going to say NA, and I just read your independent writing practice test number 39, and I am Michael. I am the founder, owner, and the materials writer for all of your lessons at Stealth, the 7-step system to pass the TOEFL IBT. So let's take a look at your particular practice test. Now, the one thing that's kind of interesting is you don't have an introduction, so I think you need to make a change there. You start off, from my point of view, I agree with people. But I don't think that's the right way to begin the essay, because if you look at what the question is, it says analyze each viewpoint and take a stand. So in the introduction, you should write approximately 50 to 100 words, and you should talk about some general ideas about work and about money in general. And then you'll say there are some people who want to make a lot of money in their life, while other people are satisfied just earning enough money for comfortable living. Then you could say, like, each of these positions deserves some consideration. Then in paragraph 2, that's when you talk about why some people want to make large amounts of money. Then when you get to paragraph 3, you talk about how others are satisfied earning a comfortable living. And then finally, when you get to your 4th paragraph, that's when you get to your position. That would directly, I think, answer the question that you're being asked. If you look at your essay, you say, from my point of view, I agree with people who make large amounts of money, but you probably should not agree with the point of view in the beginning of the essay. You want to do an analysis of each viewpoint first, and then you get into what your position is. So your essay doesn't really organize, I think, around what the writing task is. So you need a much, much better organization. So the other thing you want to do is make sure that you identify, what the writing task is, and like I said, try to figure out, the best way to organize that. Now, based on some of your problems with organization, I do have some lessons I think you can focus on. You might want to write these down. So I think with the writing area, you don't really understand based on this essay. Now, maybe I'm wrong, but I just have to base my assessment on what I read. So you're not sure how to write your introduction and how to create your thesis statement. So check out my writing lesson number 1. I think is important. Also, writing lesson number 2, number 3, and especially number 4, because 4 tells you how to create sharply focused thesis statements. Now, in your writing book for level 5, and I know that you're one of my students over here at California State University, San Bernardino also, and you're using my course online, but your writing book also has a chapter dedicated to creating thesis statements. Read it. Read that chapter. You want to understand that because you're not doing that in your writing. Okay, so the next thing is, I think that's probably good enough for right now. Then one other lesson that I think would be important is writing lesson number 8, which is how to make your writing more coherent. I think that would also be important. Now, in addition to that, you also have some problems, I think, with your word choice, maybe with your grammar, your sentence structure, and so on. Okay, so let's take a look at an example here. Let's go to your 2nd paragraph. This is a relatively short paragraph, but I want to give you some corrections. So you say, on the other hand. You want to say other, not author. Author means a writer, someone who is writing something. You want to say, on the other hand. Instead of saying save, you say saving some money has advantages. And I would say here not where, but in which people must take into account the likelihood of a deterioration, I would say, of the country's economy. And then you might say where, I guess is okay, where even now we are suffering from this problem and we should not trust the economy as it changes every time. Okay, so saving money. And then you give an example. You're still talking in generality. Then you might say, for example, if I lose my job because of the bad economy, if I've saved up maybe 10 or 15,000 in the bank, I will be able to use this money to get by over the next few months until I find a new job. So even that paragraph 2, it doesn't have enough examples to support the generalizations in there. So I think based on your response, I'm going to give you a score right now. You're not going to score very high, I'll be honest with you, so you need a much better organization. You want to make sure that you directly and explicitly answer the question. You have more details for your generalizations, and you want to demonstrate a little bit better control over your writing. So I'm going to put you at 1.75 out of 5 or 12 points out of 30 on this particular practice test. Now, in the conclusion of this video, what do we know? We know what your score is. We know why. We also know some lessons that you can study to get better. So you can A, study those lessons, work hard to improve your writing, or B, do nothing. So I hope that you will choose to go over those lessons and practice those lessons. But that's not going to be enough. If you want to practice more with your essay exam type writing between now and the final exam, I would highly recommend that you begin completing writing practice tests at my website on a weekly basis. You might do 2 or 3 writing practice tests, for example, this week, maybe 2 or 3 next week, then 2 or 3 the week after that. So the more you practice, I think, writing and typing those things into my website, you'll become more and more comfortable, I think, with your writing. Now, any of those writing practice tests that you complete, make sure you send me an email of the number of that practice test, and I'll make sure that my teaching assistant grades it in a timely manner. So I really think you need a lot more practice with your writing right now if you want to get better. All right, anyway, thank you for completing the practice test. I look forward to reading your final exam.